Look around you right now. The guy with the $1,200 designer belt? Probably broke. The woman with the brand new luxury SUV in the driveway? One missed paycheck from collapse. And that quiet older man in the plain linen shirt sitting alone at the coffee shop? He could buy the entire block and never blink. Welcome to 2026, the year the financial system perfected what I call quiet extraction. Every dollar you earn is being siphoned through invisible pipes, subscription traps, the logo tax, lifestyle inflation, and a culture that rewards you for looking rich while quietly keeping you poor. The average American earning $178,000 a year is living paycheck to paycheck. Let that sink in. $178,000 and they're cosplaying success while drowning in debt. But there's another group. They drive 10-year-old Toyotas. They wear shirts you've never heard of. They eat rice and grilled fish for dinner. And they're worth millions. The Japanese call this shizuka na yutakasa, quiet wealth. Today, I'm going to break down the 9 Japanese habits that make it almost mathematically impossible to stay poor. Not theory, not motivation, habits. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly why looking poor has become the most powerful financial move of our generation. Stay with me. Habit number 6 is the one that changed everything for me. Walk through Ginza, Tokyo's wealthiest district, and you'll notice something strange. The richest people look the most boring. No flashing logos, no designer handbags swinging like trophies, just clean lines, quality fabric, and silence. That's because in Japan, wearing a logo isn't a flex, it's a tax. A tax you pay so strangers know you can afford the brand. And here's the brutal truth. The people you're trying to impress aren't even paying attention. They're too busy paying their own logo tax. I want you to try something. Look at your most expensive purchase from the last year. Now, mentally remove the logo. Strip the badge off the car. Tear the label off the back. Would you still pay full price for it? If the answer is no, you didn't buy a product, you rented status, and the rental never ends. The quiet millionaire buys things logos can't define: craftsmanship, durability, fit. They wear $400 shirts that look like $40 shirts. That's the whole point. There's a Japanese word with no real English translation, motenai. It means what a waste, but said with genuine sorrow. A grandmother says motenai when food gets thrown out. A craftsman says motenai when good wood is wasted. It's not frugality, it's reverence. Now think about how Americans treat their phones. Every 2 years, like clockwork, we trade in a perfectly working device for a slightly newer one. We spend $1,200, and we tell ourselves it's just $50 a month. Here's what nobody tells you. That $1,200, invested instead at average market returns over 30 years, becomes around $40,000. $40,000 for one phone upgrade you didn't need. The quiet millionaire keeps their phone for 5, 6, 7 years, their car for 15, their winter coat for 2 decades. Not because they can't afford new things, because they understand that every replacement is a tax on their future self. Motenai isn't about being cheap, it's about respecting what already works. Here's a question that terrifies most people. How much did you spend yesterday? Not roughly, exactly. Most people have no idea, and that's not an accident. The financial system depends on you not knowing. In 1904, a Japanese journalist named Hani Motoko invented something called kakebo, literally household finance ledger. It's not a budget, it's not a spreadsheet, it's a 60-second morning ritual where you write down what you spent, why you spent it, and whether it brought you closer to the life you actually want. That last question is the magic. Does this purchase help me reach my tipping point? The tipping point is where your investments earn more than your job. Once you cross it, you stop trading hours for dollars, ever. Without kakebo, you're a leaf in the river. Money flows past you and you have no idea where it went. With it, even just 60 seconds of attention each morning, you take back the steering wheel. You can't fix what you don't measure, and the system is counting on you not measuring. Watch what happens during a market crash. Twitter explodes, CNBC panics, your coworker sells everything and locks in a 30% loss. Meanwhile, somewhere in Kyoto, a 70-year-old investor pours his green tea, opens his brokerage app, and calmly buys more. The Japanese-style investor doesn't fear red days. He waits for them, because every crash is a sale on assets that build dynasties. Index funds, real estate, businesses, all marked down 20, 30, 40% while terrified amateurs hand them over. This is the truest sign of quiet wealth. Emotional control. Not bravery, not genius, just stillness while everyone else screams. The perfect loser reacts. The quiet millionaire positions. And the difference between those two words, react versus position, is worth millions over a lifetime. If you can train yourself to feel excitement when your portfolio drops, you've already beaten 95% of investors. Because in a system designed to weaponize your emotions, calmness is the ultimate edge. We've been sold a lie. The lie is that wealth is exciting. Lambos, penthouses, crypto moonshots, hustle culture, get rich quick or die broke trying. But the people who actually get rich, they're bored. Painfully, beautifully bored. In Japan, there's a deep cultural respect for shokunin, the master who does the same simple thing for 50 years until he becomes legendary at it. The same sushi rice, the same knife stroke, the same investment every single month for decades. There's a concept called the 8-4-3 rule. Your first $100,000 takes about 8 years to build. The next $100,000 takes 4. The one after that, 3. And then it accelerates so fast it stops feeling real. That's the compounding shift. The moment your money starts working harder than you do. But here's the catch. Almost nobody reaches it. Because the journey to your first 100K is mind-numbingly boring. No fireworks, no dopamine, just deposits. Same fund, same date, same amount, for years. The boring people win. They always have. They always will. This is the one that flips everyone's brain inside out. Why would looking poor be a power move? Because the moment people know you're rich, strange things start happening. Family members ask for loans they'll never repay. Friends expect you to pick up every check. Coworkers resent you. Charities flood your inbox. Your boss assumes you don't need the raise. Your kids stop developing grit. And every salesperson on earth marks up the price the second you walk in. The Japanese have a phrase for it, merisu, concealing one's depth. Look ordinary, sound ordinary, tell no one. Stealth wealth gives you something money alone can't buy, the power to walk away. Walk away from the toxic boss, walk away from the dying career, walk away from the toxic demotion designed to push you out without severance. Walk away from anyone who tries to control you because nothing you own depends on their approval. The man in the plain linen shirt isn't poor, he's free. And the people in the flashy tracksuits are still trapped, performing wealth they don't have for an audience that doesn't care. Walk into any bank in 2026 and try to withdraw $20,000 in cash. Watch what happens. The teller stiffens. A manager appears. They start asking questions. Why? Because banks hate when you control your own money. Wall Street has spent decades drilling one mantra into your head. Stay fully invested. Cash is trash. But the wealthiest Japanese families have always known a different truth. Cash isn't trash. Cash is a weapon. When the next crash comes, and it's coming, millions of people will be forced to sell their assets at the bottom just to pay rent, medical bills, or job loss expenses. They'll lock in losses they spent a decade building. They'll cross what's called the point of no return, where you can never quite recover. But the person sitting on $20,000 to $50,000 in liquid cash, they don't sell, they buy. They scoop up assets at fire sale prices from the panicked majority. One downturn weathered with cash on hand can outperform a decade of fully invested returns. Cash isn't lazy money, it's loaded money, waiting. Most people have no idea what their life actually costs. They know their salary, they know their rent, but they've never calculated the one number that sets you free. It's called the Rule of 300. Take your monthly expenses, every dollar that keeps your life running, and multiply by 300. That number is roughly what you need invested to never work another day. Not in luxury, just in freedom. Spend $4,000 a month, you need around $1.2 million. Spend $8,000, you need $2.4 million. And here's the part that hurts. Every time you upgrade your lifestyle, you don't just spend more. You push your freedom number further away. A $1,000 monthly car payment doesn't cost $1,000. It costs $300,000 of permanent unfreedom. This is the high-income poverty trap. You earn more, so you buy more, so you need more, so you work more. The bigger the paycheck, the bigger the wealth prison. Lawyers earning $400,000 a year, trapped. Doctors earning $600,000, trapped. Their lifestyle eats their freedom faster than their salary builds it. The Japanese minimalist mindset doesn't ask how much do I want, it asks how little do I need to be free. And then it builds towards that number with surgical precision. Most people plan their finances in months. The middle class plans in years. The wealthy plan in generations. There's a strategy quietly used by the ultra-rich called buy, borrow, die. You buy assets that appreciate. You borrow against them tax-free instead of selling. You die, and your heirs inherit them with the tax basis reset, meaning decades of gains taxed at zero. Combine that with living trusts and proper structuring, and you reach the holy grail. Own nothing on paper, control everything in reality. Japanese families have practiced versions of this for centuries, i.e. lineage thinking, where every decision is made not for you, but for the great-grandchildren who will carry your name. The land you protect today feeds people who haven't been born yet. In America, the system is designed for the opposite: the 1099 extraction, the estate tax, the probate maze, all designed to break wealth apart the moment it gets passed down, unless you build the structures to stop it. Building a dynasty isn't about being greedy. It's about refusing to let everything you worked for be vacuumed back into the system the moment you're gone. 90% of Americans will never retire comfortably. Read that again, 90%. Not because they didn't earn enough. Most of them earned plenty. They retired broke because they spent their entire lives cosplaying success, performing wealth they didn't have for an audience that wasn't watching. Meanwhile, the quiet ones, the boring ones, the linen shirt ones, they win, slowly, silently, inevitably. You don't have to choose the loud path. You don't have to compete with people who are drowning. You can simply rotate one habit at a time into the script that actually works. Reject the logo talks. Honor motenai. Practice kakebo every morning. Stay calm when markets crash. Embrace the boring middle. Hide your wealth like a samurai hid his sword. Hold cash as a weapon. Calculate your rule of 300. Think in generations. Do these every day, and something almost magical happens. The financial system stops working on you and starts working for you. The extraction reverses, the compounding shifts, the freedom arrives, not in some loud dramatic moment, but in a quiet morning when you realize you don't have to go to work anymore. Ever. That's quiet wealth. That's the Japanese way, and it's almost impossible to stay poor once you live it.